It's afternoon tea time. Hello. Do I sound okay? Do I not sound like trash? Like what tends to happen? Oh, is that just because I'm trash or because
Is there one?
Steve, you're muted. It's just you.
All right, let's try that again here. Good morning. Whatever. Hey, you know what? One of these days I'm going to get a producer for this damn show. But, until then, I do what I want, okay? By now you'd figured I screw up the audio so often that people would just be able to lip read with me and shit, but
He tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, did it even matter?
did it even make a difference? And by the way, I just took it off and people still in the live chat can't hear Steve. Give it a second. Let it flow, man. Let it flow. Can you guys hear now? Anybody?
Think we're good.
Yay. Okay, so anyways, we're back at regular time. Last week we were a little early, so I like the 10 o'clock better. I told Cheshire morning, even though it's afternoon for her.
Yeah, whatever.
And again, I got to point out that lovely picture behind you. It's really nice.
Good. Oh, this one. Lovely. Enjoy
Lovely.
it while it lasts.
It's going to be there forever. I really like it. Anyways, so we got some stuff for you this morning. We actually have BearAnima here. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he used to have, well, he still has it, I guess. But he has a pretty large channel dealing with gaming, although he hasn't really been that active, and we're going to kind of go into why, because it leads right into the topic. But good morning, Bear.
Good morning, everyone. Or let's say evening, because living
Oh,
in Europe.
yeah, it's your time. Yeah, actually, it'd be nighttime for you.
Yeah, it is.
I love your icon.
Oh, thank you.
Can you see the outside? Can you see the icon I put for you? Is that cool, the way I did that?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Looks
Awesome.
great. Looks
Awesome.
great.
I actually did some art in prep for this, related to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, really?
Because I knew you were coming on. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, no, I would love to.
Yes. And just pull it up real quick. There it is.
It's show and tell time. All right, screen share this.
Yeah. And screen share.
People are like, we have a lot of mods. Oh yeah, I collect a lot of mods.
Ta-da!
That's awesome.
Oh,
Now I
yeah,
got to
that's
figure out
very
how to
nice,
show
yeah.
people this though.
I always like it more when it's painted rather than when it's just like hard line drawn. I like this. Yeah, looks very nice.
Yeah, it is still digital, but it's it's the puppet. and
They
he's
won't be able to
gonna
see
kill you.
that though. So let me see if I can actually show the outside of that. So I'm going to do a display capture. Okay, it's not very big, but can you guys see that in the middle there? That's her draw. That's her thing. How cool is that?
So that's just my, hey everybody, guess what? I'm back and I've got a tablet again, which means I can do art again.
Yay!
But I knew we had a Five Nights at Freddy's connoisseur coming on, so I wanted to do something Five Nights related. And I love the puppet. The puppet's my favorite.
Now I can't get it off my screen, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I know you can't see the time delay between us and the outside.
Yeah, it's always one thing. Yeah.
It's a little bit too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I can make it longer, but I can't make it shorter.
Well,
yeah, Screen Share has its own NDI. I know I could bring it as NDI, but I didn't know she was going to be doing it. She didn't give me advance.
It's all our fault. Blame
I
her.
know, right? I got to blame somebody.
I gotta keep Steve on his toes sometimes.
Well, we'll get into the other things that
You
people are
didn't hear
blaming
him.
me
He was
for.
muted when he was calling me trash.
This is true. That is a statement of fact. We'll get into some things that you have done that I'm gonna get blamed for, but
Yeah,
eventually.
there.
But a little bit of news. We are thinking about, or at least me and a sweet heathen are thinking about going to Dallas, Fort Worth, January, probably around the 2nd to the 6th. We're going to meet up with TJ from Atheist Edge and Jim Hall from Atheist Edge and Deep Skeptic maybe and a few other people. And we're thinking anybody in the area that wants to have like a little meet and greet, we would love that. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, January, the first week of January, let me know. DM me, email me, and we can arrange something. I'd love for Chess to come out too, but I don't know what her plans are.
I'll be trying to see if I can get out there. A for effort.
Awesome.
He told me about this today, so I'll have to do some work to see if
I
can,
literally
if I can
just
get
found out about it last night. We were making arrangements, so I give you the information as it comes to me. So,
That's true.
all right, so that's not the news for that. I'm really actually excited. We were planning on February, but that wasn't going to work. So I'm happy with January because it's closer. Because I don't have to wait long to hang out.
Mm.
That's the big news. You got anything for you news?
For me, I got a new tablet. I can do art again. Commission me. Oh, I should be. I'm right now. I'm trying to figure out. I've got one technical issue that I need to fix, but once I've got that technical issue sorted out, I will actually be able to stream on my own channel. So I'll be trying to stream to my Twitch channel, and I'll probably also make a couple attempts on YouTube before I go to jump back to Twitch. So if you guys are interested, go to my channel because that's going to be starting sometime later this week.
Use her is what she's saying. Use her and give her money to draw stuff because she does this professionally. She's I guess semi-professionally. Yeah.
Freelance.
I think you're a professional freelancer. I've seen your artwork. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I can't even draw stick figures, so I hate
the first
I
photo.
can't about it.
The first photo I'm going to be working on is I did because I actually recorded the drawing of the puppet. So once that video is done, I've got to edit it. That'll go up soon. But the I did one of Murphy from our little D&D my little goblin that is a what is he? He's a bard goblin.
Goblin, yeah.
Bard goblin.
Marvin or something, wasn't it? Marvin?
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy.
Murphy the goblin bard. He's the greatest bard. But I have a rough sketch ready for. Well, it's more than a rough sketch. It's it's fully painted and colored. It just looks like it's been done in chalk, which was on purpose. But we're gonna take that chalk painting and turn it into a full 3D render. So.
I'm glad you know how to do all that because I have no idea.
Well, it'll look 3D.
Barry does all that 3D stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, that's your domain. So we're gonna get into that in a second. We usually do a little segment here called Letters to Home, letters that I wrote when I was in the Navy, family. I got a real short one today because we're not going too long today. This was actually.
You say that every time.
Well, I do, but that way, if we don't run very long, people can't complain. Although they're going to find something to complain about anyways. Like we're going to get into what you did. But this one was actually one of my earlier letters. This one was from December 18th, December 18th. December 18th. Okay, so I guess this was in boot camp. Yeah.
You have your reading glasses?
No, but that's why.
Oh God. Like, you picked a short one, but it's gonna take us 20 minutes to get through it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's no. I tried this earlier, so we're gonna figure this out. It says it's got the little logo thing too. United States Navy. Can you guys see that? Come through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Hi, family. How's it going? I hope. I'd hope you like. Oh, God damn, it is hard.
Where are your glasses?
It was somebody else's glasses I borrowed. Okay, so I got this. Hi, family. How's it going? Well, I hope you like the pictures postcard, which is the one I showed the last time from my mom. It isn't completely live here, but the picture are probably over 10 years old. Oh, I was sending some postcards that were antiquated from the Navy thing. It's like they were like old photos from boot camp, right? So I was like sending them old photos because I was like, they don't have any updated stuff. These are from 1970 or something. Our company is doing really well. First place in training division. We also got our second distribution of uniforms. They are really nice. I sent 2 pictures of me in the black jumper. I ordered a wallet 3x5, which three I sent. I believe an 8x11 as well. I won't get those until 8-3 day, which was, I guess they were numbered. I don't even remember 8-3 day. I know you had prep days, and then 8-3 day was like the very end of boot camp. I'll send them then. I also am sending a plaque to put a picture in of my graduation size poster or picture of me in for now, and put my Navy pictures in it when I send them. Boot camp is almost over now, 4 weeks left, and we're dying to get out of here. It isn't exactly a party down here. We are all dead tired and bored. It is work week now, which means that we have 1 week of working in the gallery, painting, or helping brand new recruits. I got painting. Gallery sucks because it is 18 hours a day, serving food all day, and cleaning dishes, pots, and pans, etc. I'm so relieved that I didn't get gallery duty. Well, I don't have much more to add, so I'll end this letter here. I love you and miss you all. Take care, Steve. Yeah, see, that's simple. I'm so glad I didn't get gallery duty. Isn't that cool though? I mean, this was like boot camp. That's how old this letter is.
Yeah, that's cute. And I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense for what you were doing in boot camp.
Yeah, I got painting. I remember I was actually doing like we were pouring asphalt and we were doing a painting of the lines and stuff like that. That was like before A school, so you're getting towards the end of boot camp and you considered graduation, and then you had time between that and then your A school, and then you did that for 6 months, and you had A school to nuke school. Then after that, for another 6 months, you had prototypes. So,
Are you
anyways,
sure you're allowed to tell us this? Are you giving away American military secrets?
yeah, that's so hush hush, right? Yeah. But anyways, let's dive into this. Chester, why don't you kind of take
That
it
was
from
my
here? 'Cause-
very first Whopper I've ever eaten.
What's that? Where?
I just ate it while you were reading.
Oh, I love Whoppers.
That was pretty good.
Before we get to Bear, real quick, why don't you tell people what you did that I'm somehow getting blamed for again? Blame Steve. You know that song? You know what? We're gonna take that song by South Park. That blame Canada. I'm just gonna change it. Blame Steve. Blame Steve.
Okay, we all know there's specific groups of people that have now combined into. Well, there were a couple of groups, and now they're starting to combine all into one group, which is hilarious. That
Like the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Similar, Avengers.
So I guess that makes Steve Thanos. But so this group of people think that I'm 17. Not all of them, but now because they've corroborated all together, as far as I'm concerned, they think I'm 17. They think that Steve is grooming me. They they blame Steve for goddamn everything. And so I had some people, because these people have been rather pervasive on Twitter. People were asking me about my block list, because I specifically have now blocked these people, but I've also blocked other accounts that are as part of our anti-cyberbullying thing that we were working on. I was actively looking and searching and engaging to try and find the types of people who will try and engage you, or will try to start something and then not disengage, like basically play the victim if you do engage them, and basically try and false flag your account to get you suspended or deplatformed. So, and then I went through and I blocked those people that I was able to, in my research, I was able to find. So people wanted access to that list. So, and that's just the list that Twitter makes on its own. Whenever you block somebody, you can actually go and look in your settings. You can go to privacy and you can go to blocked accounts and you can see who you've blocked. So what I did is I simply just made that information public using a third party. Because it's just a third party app that says, hey, give us your Twitter thing and we'll give you a link that shows all of this. And that's what I did. And I made it public for everybody. Now they're upset because some of the people are now claiming that I've been included in a list to be targeted for ostracization on social media. If anyone wanted concrete evidence that cancel culture is alive and well on Twitter, here's an actual list of names being targeted and distributed.
That's like full-on social justice wacko crap.
I'm encouraging everyone included in this distribution list to take immediate action to safeguard your personal information.
What do they think this is? A fucking hit list? It's like, this is literally just the people you blocked. That is all that it was. Nothing past that I had nothing to do with.
I'm also informing the creator/user of this list that I am not affiliated with some other people. I don't care. I'll comment on this and tag all my relevant friends and acquaintances when I'm not halfway through my sleep cycle. You've probably already been notified at this point. Stay safe and continue being awesome, my friends. Do not do creepy red flag shit like make lists of names. Yeah, Twitter, stop making lists of names.
Yeah, this is bizarre because, like I said, the Twitter made the list, not you. But it's like, how paranoid are these people? I mean, they think I'm some kind of evil genius that's like seeking to destroy their entire universe. Oh, Thana. Okay, you're right. Maybe snap my fingers. I don't get it. It's really weird how they got off the deep end. I've seen very rational people. I used to think were rational people, be very irrational. And they literally will try to convince people of these weird narratives that make absolutely no sense to anyone. And they're so adamant about it too. But anyways, yeah, so I get blamed for that. Like somehow that was related to me. I'm like, how is her block list have a goddamn thing to do with me? I didn't make the list.
Seems like a way to look for validation, sorta. quote, hey, I've blocked these people, and if others do too, then I'll feel I'm in the right, end quote. Well, I'm allowed to block whoever I want. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with being right or wrong. It's not a moral quandary.
Yeah,
What are you
it's not a moral
talking
issue to
about?
block. Like Bear, do you when you were active on your channel, did you have to like block people or like monitor your comment section? Did you get any haters that you just said, you know what, you're not going to be able to like post on my channel?
Oh, I mean, all the time. So, like, when it comes to hatred, it were like very minor things, surprisingly. Like, it would never like something personal. It was just about the content itself. And
Oh,
like,
that's nice.
even though if they
Aw.
get a even though if they get a significant amount of likes, I just keep it there because I'm not really that interested in that type of behavior. Or I suppose my skin is thick enough, or like just the fact that it's not really that much of a bad thing. Like if they criticize the content or shit on the content, that's just fine by me. However, there were those who were either using spam or
Right.
other means to kind of throw everything around and kind of make the whole experience worse. And yeah, like there's nothing wrong with blocking those people. Nothing at all.
What
Like
about people literally think you're Satan?
I
I don't know.
haven't.
You're
I
gonna
mean,
go Satan
I
into
haven't had those types of comment from what I've seen. Most of those type of comments are outside of YouTube. So when I'm talking on Discord, for example, like because I'm quite active in a lot of political discussions, and you're bound to find this crazy Christian who believes that everything too far from the left is Satanist, and that the
Right.
Democrats are part of some kind of secret communist cabal, and those people
Lizard people.
exist.
The lizard
Yeah,
people.
I mean, like the lizard people, but I think even more batshit crazy than that, in my opinion. But yeah, it comes down to that. So, like, I've been called a lot of things on those places, but like, I mean, nowadays I mostly just kind of laugh at those people at their either their ignorance or their sheer stupidity.
That's what the funniest thing is. That a lot of these people, they just went from they went from trolls to just laughing stocks. I mean, there's more people just look when
Yeah,
you're trolling
you're
somebody
welcome.
and you become the person being trolled because we have master level trolls here. Who's my boy? Who's my boy? But it's funny because people are literally laughing at them and they're not getting this. They're like, they have become the laughing stock. They have become what they've sought to try to make other people. And they haven't caught on to this, and it's hilarious.
Hey, so this gets a little bit better. So also a way to manipulate others. Quote, if you don't block who I've blocked, then I won't like you. Childish in the extreme. All I did was post the link to this information. I literally said nothing in that tweet.
And nobody ever does that. I know people that associate with people I don't have anything to do with, and I don't
yeah.
block them. I don't, and I have.
No, absolutely not.
It's like they I think they project things, and so what they do is this is how what they think, and they think everybody else like that.
Would do.
That's what they would do, right? Exactly.
So they're
Not what I would do or you would do.
One day the poor girl will realize she wasted a good year pandering after a sleazy old man supporting his tragic lifestyle and defending his atrocious behavior. When I was in my late 20s, I was living in New York City, having a ball and making my mark. She is literally as tragic as he is. Who are you? I don't know who you are. Clearly your mark isn't that great. And oh wow, look, I'm on there. I feel super special. So there's something on here that they actually didn't reference at all because they're only looking at things one way, obviously. They could have used this to gain some kind of notoriety for themselves because like clearly people were interested in seeing the people that I have blocked, and now people might actually look into them. The thing is that because they're shitty people, they don't want people to look into them.
They're not exactly broadcasting the people you have blocked, because I did eventually see most of your block list. I didn't see all of it, but I saw some of it. Yeah. Every name that I saw in there, I have blocked as well. They're just absolutely shitty people. But I don't care if anybody blocks them or not. I would never go. Matter of fact, I prefer if a lot of them don't get blocked. I want people to engage with them to know what kind of shitty people they are. But whatever. Some of them are just dangerous.
Something because the one account was posting about, oh, guard your personal information. One of our lovely friends, Rhetoric's little puppy, was
that shits
the
over
one
the carpet.
That keeps shitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Posted somebody's boss's name.
saw that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They pointed that out to me.
And so the one account had said, "Friends, the narratives are already being spun regarding the disturbing list of names being passed around." I started talking about the idea of this list months ago. There's no narrative around them. What are you
None.
talking
None.
about?
And it's so funny because these
The
people are.
Wait, hold on. No,
Oh,
there is narratives.
what?
They're spinning them.
Oh yeah, well of course, but they're so high and mighty, and yet the Rez Rhetoric's puppy, little puppy, has tried to dox me, and he was too stupid and got my old address. But he literally put my old address out to dox me.
How can
And
public?
he's an idiot. He literally got my old address, thinking he was doxing me. So these people that think they have a moral high ground. I mean, so this is what I'm saying. Those kind of people, I would recommend, yes, block them only because they can actually do some damage, and it's not worth them going after them because they're gonna try to terminate your account. That's the whole goal. That most of them.
Yeah, that's the. There's a couple reasons why there are people on this
Or
block
or to
list. One
expose
is
you,
they're
yeah.
not honest interlocutors. It's not. They're kind of a waste of time to talk to them to begin with.
Yeah.
Two, for me, there's a good number that are on here where it's just not beneficial to have a conversation with them any longer, and they're continuously trying to, or it's just a waste of my time, and I don't give a shit about what they have to say. I don't even want to waste my time reading whatever they're saying. 3, because they will actively try to get your account blocked or dismantled or whatever.
Because they've done
Or
it before.
Yeah, or 4, I was just tired of having the same conversation about RP over and over and over again.
Yeah, so that's the same. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I block people and I don't look back.
But waste of my time.
Super chat.
But like you see that you've got on one hand, this is the evidence that they're
spinning narrative
demonstration. Well, that they're spinning a narrative for one, and for two that they are projecting, because what did Red's puppy do? Red's puppy tried to intimidate and
he tried to dox me, and he put the name of somebody's boss out.
And put somebody's boss's name out there. That's why they're saying, oh, well, they're going to do your personal information, or, oh, look at this list, it's doing this, this, and this, and then they're just projecting this additional, oh, if you don't block these people, then I'm not going to like you. I don't care if you guys block these people. No, I demand you show me evidence. Now you have to show me your block list. In what world is it not okay for me to make information about my account public?
Perfectly fine. I find nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
What I find funny, though, is somehow it's related to me again, and I'm like, I don't even see the relationship here. Like, I had a damn thing to do with that.
It's because they refuse to acknowledge me, because the problem is, as soon as they acknowledge me, I become a way bigger problem than they realize.
you are a problem to a lot of them. This is true.
All of the people who are complaining are the people that are on the block list.
Wow, go figure, right? I mean, there's a correlation there. Clearly. You want to do the super chat real quick?
Got blocked by a goblin. Oh no.
Actually, I'll read this one. Ghost of Recon, $4. My favorite YouTuber and Steve. Just kidding. Love you both, guys.
Oh,
you got first props there. Chat volume is a little low. She's gonna have to kick it up on her end. All right, but anyways, let's dive into this real quick. Sorry, Bear, we got to get all that out of the way, but
no, it's fine.
Cool. So welcome back to the internets, dude.
Yeah,
been a while since you've been on. I think the internet, hasn't it?
I never really truly left the internet. I just haven't been active on this very account. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I've never left the internet. I've been very much aware of what's been going on the YouTubes and the video games, whatnot. So, but yeah, it's like I have my reasons for no longer being on this channel or working with YouTube in general. I mean, I think everyone knows that YouTube is not really friendly to its own users, and it's way more friendly to advertisers, for example, or maybe those who hold such significant power within the community that they, in fact, become somewhat friends with YouTube, maybe. But yeah, even for someone who has like a 250,000 subscribers, even then, no, like there is not really that much care from YouTube in and of itself. And I mean, this has been a thing for years. It's not a new thing, but like, then it was a problem, but now like these last 3 months, it's even worse from what I've seen. Especially with how they treat particular groups of people within the community. Or how all their automated systems are a complete failure, as we may speak.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Like,
Well,
it
you
is.
actually said that you were gonna. I mean, you had videos that were pretty popular. I mean, for the most part,
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands of views and stuff like that.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, the ad apocalypse hit, and I believe that was about the time that you said, "Hey, what's going on here?" And it's hard to recover from that ad apocalypse. And a lot of people did start going to other platforms because YouTube was not resolving any of the issue with the content creators, and they're still not, because they're still having many videos that are demonetized. And I have to fight to get mine monetized. And after that point, they've already been watched. Right? There's 3,000 views down the chain. It doesn't seem like a lot. What is it, $3 maybe? But still, you do that with a lot of videos. That's still spending money, right? And the
yeah.
worst part is it doesn't get promoted. It gets demonetized. So that 3,000 could have been 13,000 had it got promoted.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, like you said, with you, it might be a little bit of less issue, and it's about the promotion. But like for those who create content on a regular or like gain a lot of views still to this day, like for me, for example, I still gain about like 800,000 to 1 million views a month, but I only make about $300 each month from that. That's not a lot compared to the amount of views that you get. I know a lot of people, some of my friends who still upload on YouTube to this day. They are surprised with how little I'm making compared to them when we compare our statistics together, right? When we look at like how much does this person make with the same amount of views as the other, and we see a huge disparity that goes into the hundreds of dollars each month.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, you have listen.
Yeah.
This is his top videos: 15 million views. Yeah, 7.8 million views, 7.1 million views, 6.8 million views, 6.3 million views. You had a lot of videos. I mean, your top 10 videos were all 1 million views or more. That's
Yeah,
significant.
Yeah, and like when it comes to those videos, mainly, I sometimes agree with how close it is to actually breaking the TOS or that kind of stuff. So I'm not really bothered by that. But throughout the months, especially lately, I've been getting claims on some very innocent videos that I've made, somewhere that like I highly doubt can even be close to breaking any rules or warrant of demonetization. Like with some, I agree. Like, all right, sure, that's fine. It is on a certain edge that I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, especially as of recent, it's mostly due to like YouTube's broken system, or not even that, just like people claiming that they have some sort of ownership to a piece of sound or a piece of music, when in fact they have
Right.
nothing to do with the
Would
content
these be
itself.
demonetized now?
Well, there
You
was
think?
that. Well, there's that
um,
one video
Which one?
that got tweeted out the other day where the guys got copyright claimed for a video that he made like a year ago, and the music got copyright claimed, but the music that is by Sony,
Mhm.
and the copyright, the music that he used was from YouTube's free to use music, and that song isn't on the list anymore. So does that mean that if YouTube no longer has the rights to that, and that changes hands, that now all of a sudden Sony can go ahead and just copyright claim everybody without the people who used it even knowing that's even possible?
Would
Like,
appear
what
so,
the
yeah.
heck?
Legally speaking, they can absolutely do that. They are protected by YouTube and the law. The content creators can't do anything about that. And I mean, but even when it comes to illegitimate cases, or where like little random third-party companies from like any country possible, because like I've had these a lot, where there's a list of odd companies that I've never heard of claiming pieces of music I know are made by those who gave these freely. We're talking about people like Sherwood, for example. I think he's one of the most well-known examples of someone who makes music on YouTube and lets everyone use it, right? Like very good music. But I still get copyright claims from very like companies of which the name sound like they were randomly generated in some kind of on some kind of website. Like
Yeah,
we're not talking about
I remember that being a huge problem back when they first implemented the system, because
it,
the people who made the claim got the money. So there were groups of people that were going out just false flagging everything
Yeah.
because they got the money
During
for
the
the time.
exactly. Even if it was a couple of weeks,
yeah.
they were getting the revenue from it until it was fought, and they didn't get the other people didn't get restitution for that.
Yeah, and like this still hasn't been fully fixed, because this is still an ongoing issue, right? Where you still have to this day random companies that do not own the music at all, or like didn't even participate in anything considering this piece of art. They will claim it if they can. And they'll just have to weigh whether the content creator will fight it or not. And like, especially when it comes to those who have hundreds of videos on their channel, those are things that a lot of people don't like to deal with it, because the process itself is it's long, it's boring, it drags you down. It is an atrocious process to go through. And it messes with the motivation of the content creator. Like it messed with me in a lot of ways. I just was no longer motivated to create new pieces of content, because I never really knew what came of it, right? I never really knew whether I was actually going to get anything from it, or like if it was like daily content I was able to make, I might be thinking differently about it. But like, this is content that even despite being a minute long or 2 minutes long, it takes weeks or months to create. It is not easy to make. So yeah, all those things combined slowly drew me to the conclusion that it was no longer worth it to really be on YouTube, and kind of move on to other things. I still create videos behind the scenes, but I do not create it for my own channel. I create it for other people, and they give me money in exchange for it.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, I get like I'm friends with people who they create they collect animation from other people in exchange for money. And they put it on their own channel through and they make compilations or like separate videos or that kind of stuff. And I just get like the payment directly, and it sometimes pays quite well, right? We're talking about sometimes hundreds of dollars for like a minute of content. I'm as I speak now, I'm working on a video that's about 3 minutes long, and it should be completed next week, I think. And that video, I will get about $1,000 from that. Just for 3 minutes of content. It's just way better to actually work with others than to upload it yourself. It's just way more profitable.
Well, let me ask you: do you think your stuff would have been monetized? Like, for example, some of your stuff's kind of sexualized as far as like imagery.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of that content.
Oh no, we're all good for that. That's fine. But YouTube, especially now, they've been really cracking down.
I do art on the internet. I do weird things.
Every photo she ever has, she has somewhere hidden in it some little micro picture of a penis, or at least dick butt. Everyone.
Dick
butts everywhere. There actually, if you look at all her pictures, every dot is just an actual dick butt.
Every pixel
is a dick butt. Yeah.
If I can spot them in the future, we'll see.
So I don't think that I think they probably would have been demonetized right off the bat. And so if you spent 2 weeks coming up with a couple minute footage, and you upload it and it's already been demonetized, and you get 100,000 people watching it before they even take a look at it, you've lost all that revenue, and it doesn't get promoted.
Yeah, like when I used to upload regularly, right, the majority of the views came within the first few weeks, and then it then slowly died down, of course. Now, there are examples of where it actually happened far later, where it would get a few 100,000 views and then suddenly like speed up to like millions of views suddenly out of nowhere. But that's something that you can't predict. That's just something that happens out of the blue, because YouTube's recommendation system is all over the place. Like, I get videos that are 10 years old that are not related to anything I watch on the regular on this website. So that happens with a lot of people, and I get comments, a lot of comments nowadays that talk about like, why is this in my recommended, or like, jokes about YouTube's recommendation system. That's like the majority of my comments sometimes. It's ridiculous, right? It's just something unpredictable that I just can't rely upon when I want to make a steady stream of income. It's ridiculous.
I'm curious. Yeah. I'm curious if you when you decided to put the next video on your main channel and let people know that, hey, you're doing commissions, and you said you wanted to kind of at least start it up a little bit. When you first upload that video, I'm wondering if you get demonetized right off the bat. I'm just wondering if it's even, because then you have to like wait for a review, so you have to have at least 1,000 views. Which will happen, no problem. But still, it doesn't get recommended, and that's what I think kills these videos.
Well, that'll be interesting, because it might do the opposite. Because what Twitter does is, when you haven't posted in a while, it tells everybody that, hey, this person hasn't posted in a while, which is hilarious, because they also do it if they're the ones who put you in jail.
Yeah, I don't know if that works for Twitter. I mean, YouTube. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's what Twitter does.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if
let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know, because that.
Sorry, I think Cheshire is
glitching. She's actually a very sophisticated CGI program that I do. I haven't worked out all the bugs yet, so
That'd be
there she goes.
Oh,
Sorry,
she's
I
teleported.
reset her. I rebooted the AI.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yes.
Are we back?
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
Do you know where you are? Do I got to reprogram you? Fill in the
Twitter
blank.
bumps people up.
I think when it comes to these things, I don't think I'll get so I haven't really uploaded ever since like the newer rules were put in place where it really started to become an issue with even starting to upload your videos, because I know a lot of people who have a process of where they wait until they actually make it public, because they have to check whether it's going to be demonetized, right? Because like for a lot of people, it gets demonetized before it's even open to the public, right? Like they privatize their videos and they just wait whether it's going to be demonetized. If it's not, they'll upload it. But like simple things such as that are just like they work against the creator a lot, because I had a schedule of like where I would like days as to where I would prefer to upload my content. Most people have that, right? But when you're like nowadays, people have to wait for quite a long time, like days or like a week before they actually know, like, oh, can I upload this or not? Like, can I make this public in order to make money from it? I never really had that happen yet, because those are more recent things. But I wouldn't be surprised if I were to be hit by that kind of charade. I would not be surprised by that, but I'll just have to see for myself sometime if I'm going to be, motivated enough to actually do something with my channel again. But it's still very rocky on my end when it comes to those types of stuff. It's just like the current way I do it. It's just way better for me. It just makes me far better money. That's what it does. It's YouTube itself. No.
Right. Now, have you managed to find any kind of alternative to YouTube?
I mean, I essentially have a full-time job. I always had. Like, I never abandoned my work in exchange for YouTube itself, because I always kind of knew it was going to be rocky. So I never really. I don't have an issue with a job. I have a job. I have a good paying job. It essentially just like a second thing that I do, where I make quite a lot of money from it, that I just enjoy to do. So I'm fine, even if I were to completely stop this. I would be financially well off from that. But like yeah, so like the current way I just do things is I know a lot of people work on YouTube in YouTube. I just approach them. I tell them, hey, I have content. I'm available to create content for you guys. Are you interested or not? We discuss prices. We discuss how long. We discuss what it's going to be. The video is going to be about, a topic or whatever. I make it for them. I send the video. They send me the money, and that's kind of rinse and repeat. That's how it kind of goes. So yeah, that's kind of my.
That's a good gig. I mean, that sounds like a great gig. I wish I could do something like that. I've done some rendering, but very, very minor.
You have any?
Yeah, you just have to be like this community. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Do you have any thoughts about what YouTube might be able to do to improve the system? Besides, like, just dump the whole thing.
I mean,
throw it all in a dumpster and light on fire and
let it all burn. Yeah, exactly. Nuke it all.
That's the thing.
So how would you build it if they were to remove the whole system, or however you think they would need to tweak it? How would you?
I mean, that's a really good question, because honestly, we're talking about a website that had like 10 years of development. I mean, we're talking about something that cannot be replaced as easily. People try, of course, right? You have websites that try to do so, but they all failed in the end, because in the end, YouTube has the massive advantage of being a website that has been developing over the last decade compared to those who have to start all over again.
Yeah, YouTube's essentially got a monopoly, and because they're with Google, they can essentially choke out anybody who tries.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to try to choke out. Like the sheer hosting having a video hosting website in of itself is extremely expensive and requires a lot of time and investment by yourself and monetary. So just having just hosting that requires a lot from you, and that's just something that just removes people from having that motivation in the first place. And as you can, like, we recently had another website. I can't remember the name of that. I think it was VidMe.
VidMe.
I think that was VidMe. Mm-hmm. They were the closest thing to actually becoming something like YouTube, but they failed, like just like any other. And those that are still out there are obscure compared to the size that is YouTube. I mean, the thing is, right? Because YouTube has a monopoly, it's just a lot more appealing to new creators, essentially. I've seen a very good video a while ago by someone who kind of explained as to why these websites continue to fail, and it's a combination of monetization, right, where the website just costs a lot of money, and the audience that you bring in, because he kind of explained that the first people that you usually bring in are those that have been desensitized by the website, by the main website, or they've been kicked out. And he said mostly for a reason, of course, right? We can't talk about they've been removed for being like toxic individuals or being hurtful to other individuals on the platform. Usually bad people. Of course, there are exemptions where people get banned for no reason, but like most of the time, it is people who have done some quite some bad things on the previous website. When you pull in such an audience, there's not really a good look on your advertisers or those that have any type of financial interest in your website, right? When you see the audience being on the edge of almost unadvertisable, you kind of already have a lot of people will say, no, I won't invest in that. So just a sheer, like the size of YouTube makes it near impossible to compete, even though we live in an age where anyone can create these types of websites.
Theoretically,
Yeah, and plus YouTube has a very easy to use interface. Yeah, the GUI is pretty. You know, the VidMe and all those. I never liked any of them. I thought they were very poorly done, and they weren't intuitive. You know, people go to YouTube. It's like, what?
Facebook is such a pain.
Oh, Facebook's ridiculous.
Does not work.
Yeah, Facebook's just horrible. But yeah, so I mean, YouTube is the juggernaut. YouTube is the monopoly. They know this, and it's not just that the certain creators, they really only give a shit about the big guys, the big guns. And I get that, right? Because they're the money makers. They're the product, the multipliers of the world and the beauty prize. I understand that.
Well, that's not entirely true.
Oh, I think it is.
Well, it's a good portion. It's probably a percentage, whereas you could like comparatively to everybody else. But the thing is like the people who create on this website are also the people who watch this website. Helios for 575 for $5 said, I support any option that stops me from seeing those laughably bad Trump poll ads or PragerU ads whenever I'm watching anything other than a live stream.
Funny enough, I heard a lot about those types of ads, but just the mere fact that I don't live in the United States makes me glad that I don't have
I had Flat Earth ads play on Flat Earth videos before.
I get ads about some type of like almost like about like weird videos about people trying to combine I think it was mysticism with science, or I don't know what it was. It was some really weird it's like looking at like the Heaven's Gate cults, like videos or something. It was close to that. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I keep getting those ads for some reason.
I need to cringe.
Is that like some kind of weird standpoint theory? Like, you know, if we hadn't, you know, gone to different cultures, they would have just gone a different route in their science than involved mysticism of some kind. Because that's popular too.
It's like where like, oh, we found this axe made out of this weird stone. What does this mean for Egyptian civilization or whatnot? When like it is it really reminds me of people who believe in it. I think what they're trying to do is kind of combine spirituality with science, and I think that's what those videos aim to do. And it's just a weird thing to see.
I don't see those ads, so I don't know.
Somebody's asking Glitch is asking if you mean spirit science.
No, spirit. I've heard of spirit science. It's that cartoony series or something. No, this is like more professional. It's almost like like it's quite professionally made. That's the thing. It's like on the levels of like.
You don't remember the name of the movement?
An actual budget behind it. I'll need to get the ad sometime.
Yeah, messes me up.
I have no idea.
I mean, we had on the non sequitur show, we talked a lot about these kinds of things. So that'd be an awesome thing to maybe talk about one day when we get the channel back. But like we had things like, did you ever watch the episode we did on Soul Phone? Skyping to your dead relatives.
Oh wow, that's no, I haven't heard of that, but just hearing that already makes me worried.
Yeah, yeah, it was very eye opening because they had brought the guy on that was supposed to be their spokesperson, right? He wasn't the engineer, but he was a spokesperson, And
Is
of
it?
course, I asked the hard questions, and he's like, "That's a good question, but I don't have the answer for that, but the other guy does." I'm like, "But we didn't have the other guy. Come on, you're the fucking spokesperson. I'm asking you difficult questions for a reason because you're claiming to be able to talk to the dead with Skype, which is to me just a form of modern day mediumship." So
No Name is
It's
asking if you're talking
that
about Gaia.
that reminds me of one video I've seen years ago about it was a
Hyperionism.
news segment about some guy doing exorcism through Skype. Oh, that was the
My
best thing I've ever
God.
seen. It was extremely bad to see.
Oh no.
But it was like an Onion article, like an Onion video, to be honest. Like I thought it was like from the Onion, but no, it was like a legitimate news segment.
we're
about
gonna
a
do that one of
priest.
these. We're gonna get somebody on, and we're gonna see if like we can turn Cheshire into a human being because she's a goblin. So we're gonna try somebody sending healing energy through the.
A
We're gonna-
transmutation.
We're gonna try something. Yeah, we're gonna try something. See if it works.
See if somebody
Apparently
can
it
have
works
true
because
polymorph.
he exercises the demons through Skype. Apparently, so it might
Can you
work.
exorcise a demon if it actually is just a demon, though? Doesn't the demon have to be inhabiting something for it to
Well,
exorcise?
no, like yeah, like I kind of worded it wrong, but yeah, like so, it was you essentially had because they showed footage of like it happening, right? You have the priest in one camera, and then you have the guy acting as if he was possessed by a demon on the other camera, and every time I see that, I'm like, if he's that possessed, why does he turn on the camera?
Yeah, well, you ever see the one? My favorite one where this exorcist was like in Nigeria or something like that because they really playing it down there. And the guy was doing the exorcist, and this guy, he's like flapping around, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden his phone rings. The guy that's
Oh,
and he stops.
yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I can't talk right now. Yeah, okay, cool. And the guys do the exorcist going. Oh my god, that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
That's so
He's like,
funny.
let me get back to you.
That's like the one that the news did on psychics, where they have the guy who's like an adult now, and they're showing the psychic this picture of him when he was a kid, saying he's been missing and they were like, "Hey, can you tell us about this kid?" And she assumes he's missing, so she's like, "He's dead." Or she says that he's dead, and then so the newscasters get her on the way out of like the diner they're in, and ask her and say, "Oh hey, yeah, no, actually he's alive. He's right there," and he's standing behind her, and she's like, "Oh, that's wonderful."
Oh god.
Yeah, I've seen that.
By the way,
it's like,
I'm feeling
that's
somebody's
one thing that
sending
news
thoughts and
stories do.
prayers our way. I get this.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody out there sending thoughts and prayers our way. So I feel that.
Let me see if I can get into it.
Can you channel it?
I think they're telling us to go fuck ourselves.
Got to raise the antenna. Hang on.
I think it'll take me a while to get it. I think because I live on another continent, so like there's a delay. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure they travel at the speed of light. Oh, well, look at here. See, anti-ordinary. I'm sending thoughts and prayers. See, we picked it up. Thank you.
We knew.
Experiment is conclusive. Thank you.
Yeah, apparently RNGD knows somebody on Facebook that claims to be able to exorcise demons and heal people of cancer.
Oh God. So yeah, all right. So we went from advertisements to demons on Skype.
We just go all over the place around here.
Yeah.
We can't seriously stay on a single topic for more than like 15 minutes for some reason.
So we'll drive this back to YouTube.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think we can kind of go because I think we've kind of discussed everything about how shitty YouTube is towards creators. How, I guess we can kind of talk about like the prioritization of advertisers, and I can somewhat sympathize with YouTube on that end because that is in fact how they make money. That's their only way they survive is through monetization. Because from what I've seen for years, YouTube was never really a profitable thing. So I get why they have to appeal to the advertisers in order to really be able to keep up the whole thing. It's like they really are on like this dangerous edge where they have to prioritize one over the other. But even then, some of the things they do is I don't think they even benefit the advertisers anymore. To be honest, but
well, that's actually a good segue into the way that the game companies are making money, like AAA games.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that in a second after the super chat here. I want to talk about
Helios 575 for $5. The only thoughts and prayers Cheshire receives is from incels hoping she will make good with her tease to do a naked apron cooking show.
That will happen. Yeah, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna have to figure out how to pixelate things. Certain. We're gonna have to
Are we just gonna move the show to Pornhub?
We don't have to pixelate there, so I don't know.
mean,
Is that profitable? Can you make money? I have no idea how
Well,
Pornhub works.
Pornhub is working on actually becoming the new YouTube, so why not? I mean,
You get
like,
paid for
there's
that?
no-
I don't know how that works.
Well, it's still so when it comes to that website, it's still very strict, of course, on who gets paid or not, because it's a smaller website, and when you give everyone money, it will have the same issues as like YouTube, where they don't become as profitable. But they are moving slowly to becoming the next YouTube. Actually, when it comes to traffic alone, they are more than capable of doing that. Like they are. And like they have entire sections of like just like, oh, here's the meme section, enjoy. They have that. It is quite ridiculous how close they are becoming to an actual legitimate.
I've been telling Chess forever she needs to get into that market because that would be all her revenue. I would just promote it for her.
Yeah.
But I keep telling her
know
she's
somebody
got a
that's
money maker.
telling-
Why not use it, right?
Okay, so here's the thing with that. I don't know what I'm doing. So like I need
How
somebody who
difficult would
can-
it be? You're naked and you cook.
I guess that's fair.
Not that complicated, man.
That's fair
not
enough.
that
I guess that's
complicated.
not that
You do have to
difficult.
bend. You do have to bend your back though for the thumbnail. That's how it works.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is not.
And I have scoliosis.
You got to make sure you don't get splattered by hot grease, though.
Well,
Like
yeah,
that-
you just gotta
that-
be careful around the bacon.
Exactly. Very, very painful. But real quick, so
Sure, if I'm blurring out my ass cheeks, that's gonna be like 95% of the screen.
let's just do it. Let's just ask the live chat. Do you guys want to see Cheshire cook naked on Pornhub or some other? Would you guys be interested?
Yeah, already
Patreon,
said
maybe? I don't know. You could do it with Patreon.
We could do it.
Do it through your Patreon, yeah.
You gotta do it with just.
Would
the
you give me a
apron.
discount?
I'll do bacon if I can have an apron on.
Will you? Can I get like the $10 level at the $1 level because I'm cheap? She's like, fuck no, you pay like the rest, bitch. I know how she works. I ain't stupid.
Yeah, I don't want to get bacon splatter on my nips.
You know what's funny is nobody's actually going for this. They're like awfully quiet in the live chat. Maybe they don't want it to see you cooking. Oh, we got one yes. One person. Okay, yay.
Yeah.
One yes. Cheshire, you're not as popular as you may think you are. Holy cow.
What? You guys are the one who thinks this would work.
Obviously, we're wrong.
Apparently.
How about this? You guys want to see me naked cook? I'll do it. I really don't care. I would not care if it wouldn't bother me least. I just want to get a little bit of better shape.
Patreon does allow not safe for work. I know because I do not safe for work art on there every so often.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same. I know everything about that.
Yeah, I'm grooming Cheshire to be Pornhub so she could actually make some money. I know. I'm a bad man. I didn't do it too though. I don't care. I mean, what's wrong with that? I don't have anything against nudity, but who wants to see me naked cooking?
Oh, we see a lot of yes in the chat right now.
Well, they
So
might
I
want to see me
think,
naked, but not cooking. I'm not a good.
I'm looking at the chat as well, and there are quite a lot of yes.
Oh,
so
there
I
we go.
think-
The chat caught up.
Oh, okay. Now, I was thinking to myself, wow, Cheshire, sorry, but I kind of hate to break it to you, but they're not too into you.
Nitty makes a good point.
Yeah.
Cut
Oh,
up the
ju-
bacon into small squares so it doesn't spatter so much.
Here's
See,
one thing
cooking
you do have
tips.
to do, though, on
Naked
YouTube.
cooking tips. Perfect.
Here's one thing you do have to do on that website. Just make sure you look as much like an anime girl as you can, because that's the thing on that website right
Should
now.
I'd have to. Should I bleach and dye my hair a color? What color should it be?
Yeah, I guess like
I would wear cosplay
from what I've
wigs. That's
seen,
popular.
Pink seems to be very popular
Pink's
nowadays. Or
popular.
yeah.
Blue.
I could probably do like a light blue, like Rem from.
Oh yeah, no, that works as well. Yeah, just do that.
Right, something bright.
Have the most obnoxious background music you can think of, like a ukulele or whatever.
I'll just get Godless Engineer and I'll commission him to do.
Ooh, shots fired.
And
Wow.
and yeah, like do those things. Put on the anime face constantly every time you turn around, or like when you get supplied by bacon, whatever.
Like the
Um,
crumb
I'm
side
telling you,
out.
man, she's probably
Yeah,
gonna
the
she could
cross-eyed
probably
thing,
like
yeah.
do pretty well. But forget the apron. Just go with cosplay or hair dye or something like that. People like that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
I like colored hair.
I
doesn't
do
bother me.
like green. If I was
Green,
gonna
blue,
do a color,
red.
I'd probably try to do like a bright green would be nice.
I think
But
that was. Yeah.
Smitty seems upset. Smitty says no, stay glasses and brunette.
I'm gonna go with Smitty myself, but you know what? If you got to have some variety, so just do it all. I don't know.
I mean, we live in a capitalist society. We need that money,
Yeah.
Need to make that cash.
I'll tell you what. I will go on Pornhub and not take off my clothes if people want to pay for that. That's
I mean,
can understand that.
theoretically, we could just do non sequitur, and I can just not be wearing a shirt.
Nude non sequitur. Non sequitur. We'll have an episode called non sequitur nude. That'll be a Patreon thing.
Well, we could do a Patreon thing, or we could do it on Pornhub.
Wherever
Okay.
you want.
So we'll just do topless, because like you can be topless. I don't think anybody will be upset about that.
On
I'll keep my
Pornhub?
camera off though, I think.
Cheshire dancing naked to polka music would leave me really conflicted. God damn it.
Steve's woke. I like girls with weird color hair. I've always said that. Yeah, I mean, I
You can do like bright fire engine red.
I like redheads. Yeah, but we'll figure that out because I think the audience is getting too turned on and they're losing focus from the topic.
Yeah, we need to focus on like the mood things, such as
No, why
exploitation of the video
why
game
doesn't
industry.
Yeah,
YouTube
exploitation of
let
video
us do
games.
this? Why doesn't YouTube let us do this? Come on.
YouTube would be. Can you imagine if
Just-
YouTube actually allowed like adult-oriented content, like heavily adult-oriented content, not just like rating master dildos and shit like that, but actual like porn? They would be the richest company in the world.
Or
I don't
they'll lose
know.
all their main advertisers. Like either one of those will work.
I agree that I do sympathize with YouTube in wanting to please advertisers, but I do think the advertisers are problematic, and YouTube needs to realize that their product is the creators, so they need to focus a little bit more on the creators. And on a side note, I think the advertisers and the way YouTube interact are both full of shit, because I mean Pepsi has no problem being the segment that comes on during the news while there's a live shooting going on or a bomb threat. Why the
Right.
hell do they care about YouTube?
Yeah.
And on another side note, keep in mind that Facebook had an active live streaming. What happened to Facebook? Nothing. Nothing happened to Facebook in that regard. So what is YouTube so scared of?
I couldn't tell you. By the way,
I
yeah,
mean, like-
you can do nudist stuff on YouTube, I heard, but you can't be monetized for it. So she would have to make some revenue somewhere else for that. But
Yeah.
I just want to listen. If I want to do Pornhub, I want it to be just feet. I want to just stick my feet in cream cheese.
cream cheese and Cheetos.
Oh,
Cream cheese and Cheetos.
I'm sure there's an audience for that. Yeah.
There is.
What do you think? Hey guys in the live chat, would you or people in the live chat? I meant guys as a general term, not a gender.
Like the way I use
specific term.
dudes. Everybody's a dude
Yeah.
to me.
Okay, so if I make a video where it's just me sticking my feet in cream cheese on Pornhub, would you guys all go over there and give it a watch and like give it a boost so it'll actually like pick up some sorry. get it rolling, because like getting noticed and get to be able to make money is the hard part, right?
I think you scared Steve away.
Yeah, probably. So let's talk gaming, since Steve
Yeah.
is talking about when it comes to games. What do you think?
that's- Well, I mean, I think the state of the video game industry has gone to shit. I mean, that's
Cheshire, here you
the
go.
best way to really talk about it.
Cool Whip.
Cool whip.
Cool Whip.
Oh,
You got to
God.
do one with Cool Whip. There you go. Stick your feet in that. That'd be awesome.
Cool Whip.
I'm not into any of this shit, by the way, but I like Cool Whip. This stuff is, oh my God. Mm.
Now we're demonetized.
I just turned on everybody in the live chat. Look at that. That's. Mm.
You need to view how to clean your house videos. $50,000 a month revenue. Wow.
I'm telling you, man, we can make good Pornhub stuff, man. What? I'm just eating Pornhub. I mean, Cool Whip, guys. My God, you guys are pervs. Here. Can't even eat Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
So.
I could do one.
Yes.
I could do one Stewie imitation. Cool Whip.
All right, so video games.
So,
Jesus.
we literally just lost our entire audience right there. Great.
Trying to move on.
Woo! All right, let's go into the AAA rating kind of stuff, because I'm still a little confused how all that crap works from the indie stuff, and maybe Bear can explain what is all that crap with the AAA and the rating system, all that trying to get.
I mean,
money.
I'm not really. I'm honestly enough not really familiar with like the actual rating system or how they do those things themselves. I mean, I guess we can say like nowadays, like as long as you exploit your customers as much as possible, you're part of the AAA gaming industry. Congratulations, you're in it. But like, what actually, I'm not actually familiar. Like, believe it or not, I'm not familiar with like how they rate these things. But I think even though you don't really know how it's being rated, I do think you can kind of see which companies belong in there and which companies do not. and it's because like there are not that many that really control everything, right? We're talking about like especially like the main publishers that are, you're talking about EA, you're talking about Activision. What was the other one again that was pretty significant nowadays? Ubisoft, of course. I think Bethesda, though smaller, still has quite a significant grip on the whole thing. I mean, they are all part of the same thing. And they all have one thing in common: is their mass exploitation of their customers through any means necessary, even if it involves psychologically dangerous things like gambling on a very young
lying.
age. Yeah, actively lying to their customers, gambling, even breaking the law and just not caring about doing so. Trying to resist any type of regulation that's being put on them by any governments.
Lobbying.
I mean, lobbying, or just like plain making stuff up about their product that try to make it as good as possible. For example, calling loot boxes surprise mechanics. Okay, it's they have a lot of tactics, to make sure that they can keep this type of thing up and running, because it does make a lot of money for them, even though it's money they don't actually need to create new video games. If you look at their profit margins, it's in the billions sometimes. Like it is quite ridiculous. And I mean, it's just those practices alone that really ruin the video game industry as a whole for me, because they are essentially the trendsetters, right? And they'll make those trends, and others will follow. And they keep pushing and pushing and pushing as far as they possibly can, which has led us to this point where finally governments are recognizing the issue.
Yeah.
But it's still too slow and too open for those companies.
Now people are getting upset that video games are being politicized.
Oh yes, massively so.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I think that's a different issue with like politicization.
The thing is that the problem is you can't have one without the other, right? So if the government wants to get involved in what video games are doing, like it or not, what video games are doing is going to be responding to, now we're being looked at by the government. So
yeah, I mean, like, I think that the video game industry is the perfect example where the profit motive just doesn't work well when it comes to an art form. It ruins the art form, essentially, right? We see this with movies to quite an extent, where you have continuous uncreativity within Hollywood and the kind of stuff, or like the pandering towards like the Chinese government, for example, which they continuously do.
Blizzard.
Yeah, well, I mean, and with the video game industry, it's far worse, I think, because at least with movies, they bring you a full product when you watch the movie. They don't say like, all right, here's the first 30 minutes, the other 30 minutes cost another $20 for a new ticket, right? They don't do that. They just give you the full movie. If you don't like it, whatever. But with video game industry, it's just like so much worse, in my opinion. I think the most egregious example being Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the game from Ubisoft, where
Ubisoft's...
So one thing they do is they all make their games the exact same. They give their games the exact same main mechanics within an open world. And that's something that you see this in Assassin's Creed, you see this in Ghost Recon, and in many of the other titles. Or like The Division, another good example of that. And they do this in order to kind of save money by sacrificing creativity. And especially with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, it is more obvious than ever what their actual goal was, which was making profits through monetization, because every single aspect of that game is monetized. Like, you can come up with anything that's in the game, any item, any part of the game is in fact monetized. If you don't like the way, if you don't like how long it takes for you to upgrade or get new stuff for your weapons, you can buy something that they call time savers, which is, a way of saying like, all right, you want a boost to your abilities, all right, give us $20. Or, instead of actually patching the game.
I hate games like that. I hate games like that. I understand some like free to play. I get some of the reasons why, but I like the ones where you can get
games.
Yeah, the games I play the most are the free to play ones.
Gotcha games.
Look, if you can get every item without paying for it, then I think it's a decent game, more than likely. But there are certain times where I'll be like, yeah, you know what, I do want that, and I'm happy to spend a few bucks micro transaction. But when they
So
make it so you can't even play the game and they call it free to play, that's bullshit.
there are actually
They win,
two quick points. One is that it's a shame about reusing assets because you don't have to lose creativity for that. A really good example of this is Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask was all reused assets from Ocarina of Time. They didn't make anything new for that game, but they told a completely different story and you played a completely different game. But all of the assets, everything was already there. They just reprogrammed it all.
Oh, I have no problems with like you said, asset flipping if it's done well.
Yeah,
I just have a
that's what I'm
problem
saying.
with
It's they're being
I,
lazy.
I don't think like if the game is still good from that, that's fine. But the problem with Ubisoft is that they sacrifice not just that, they sacrifice everything
Everything. They're not
from
even
that. Like
producing a new product. Yeah.
yeah, like the story is with Breakpoint. The story is bad. The game mechanics don't work properly.
Oh, yeah.
Everything about it is monetized, despite being a $60 game.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's not just that they reuse assets in order to actually kind of
Oh
make
yeah,
it a
no,
bit easier, whatever.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that yeah, they could reuse assets and do it in a way that they do actually
Yeah.
create a new game. So like they're not just making a sacrifice, they're being actively lazy and not doing any
Yeah.
work when they could still reuse those assets, save the money, but also produce a good product. But they're not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Helios57545 said, how about what Bungie did with Destiny, where they had at least the first expansion actually on the disc and not accessible until you purchased the XP?
Yeah, that was another thing that I remember where they look, the expansion is already here for you here, but it was just a ruse. Like it's essentially like how can I even compare that to? It's like those photos that you where you see like a packed sandwich and the label is in the middle and underneath that label has just like a chunk of the sandwich been removed or something like that.
Yeah. When you
Those
buy
weird
like a jar of candies and the bottom of the jar doesn't or the top of the jar doesn't actually have
doesn't have
anything in it.
anything in it. Yeah, it's comparable to that, right? Where they can, oh wow, you're getting this expansion for free with the game that you bought. But no, yeah, not really.
It's very misleading.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, it is actively lying to your customers, right? They are actively lying to their customers, and
False
even though
advertising.
even though there are laws against it, they're getting away with these practices continuously, and that surprises me so much. Like the video game industry, has been severely untouched by any laws compared to other industries, and that's why they are allowed, for example, to provide gambling mechanics to games that can be bought by those who are 4 years or older, right? FIFA, for example, a perfect example of that.
A good example of how to do DLC and how to do stuff well would be the Witcher. The Witcher, the DLC for The Witcher is an entirely new game.
Yeah.
They actually provide a slew of content with the DLC, and it feels like an actual new piece of major content.
It feels it feels like something you would pay $60 for, and it's like only $20. Another good example would be the new Breath of the Wild game. Breath of the Wild was an entirely complete game, open world, and the DLC was fun additional crap you can do and like a super extra hard mode. So you could still play the game, you could beat the game, you can have all the fun you wanted in that game, and then if you wanted to like up the ante, you could pay like an extra $5 and up the ante and get some neat extra crap if you really wanted it. But you could either buy it for cheap or you could buy like individual pieces of it. You didn't have to get the whole thing if you didn't want to. And all of that was like more just fun additional stuff. So like, oh, I want to get this I want a motorcycle because
I'm cool with that kind of stuff though. I mean, I'm fine with that kind of business model.
But none of it was required to beat the game.
Yeah, exactly. I hate pay to win, especially PvP. You find a game that's pay to win for PvP, done. Get rid of it. It's going to screw you.
I'm sorry. I'm about to ruin some people's lives. You mean like Magic the Gathering?
Oh,
what? I play Magic the Gathering online.
Magic the Gathering is a pay-to-win game.
Which one? I have an older version. Well, I don't have the latest. Are you like a Windwalker?
The card game.
Oh, the card game itself.
Magic, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you got a point there. I mean, because you can get like I got the starter one before, and I make like a blue-white deck. But you're right. I mean, if you really want to pay, if you want to win at Magic the Gathering, those high-end cards are going to cost you.
The high-end cards are going to cost you, and there's very specific combinations that
Yes.
will win depending on which
Black Lotus.
which edition you're playing. Yeah, depending on which edition you're playing, right? So
3
if you're
mana,
playing-
black. Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, if you're playing in the old Phyrexia, or if you're playing in Commander, or if you're playing in Innistrad, or if you're playing in the newer versions, you have to. They force you because they remove cards from the game. It's like these ones aren't good anymore, so you got to.
You're talking about competitive, though.
Buy whole new decks. Well, yeah, no, that's without getting to competitive. As soon as you get to competitive, there are maybe 4 decks that will actually be comparative to each other. So you'll have to buy one of like the cards that are in any one of these decks as soon as somebody figures out what the combinations are for them. And there's only going to be those 4 decks. So if you want to win and you want to play in a competitive scene, you need to own one of those.
Yeah,
4
I've tried
decks.
different things. I tried blue-white control decks. I've tried burn decks. I've tried black.
My favorite
damage
was
red.
because I'm an asshole.
You like what do you like? Black and red.
Green.
Green?
Infect.
Green is pretty potent. Well, they're all potent if you have
Yeah.
the right cards and combos. And
Usually it's a green-black mix, but they kind of moved Infect. In Innistrad, they moved Infect a little bit over to blue, so you'd probably do green-black with a splash of blue, but we're off topic.
no, we're not.
It's a pay
Yeah.
No, we're not.
It's a pay-
Games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like
Well,
that's another.
okay. Well, how
example,
about
kind of
this,
like a-
Bear? How about Hearthstone?
Hearthstone. I haven't really played it. I'm not really that interested in games like Hearthstone, to be honest. I'm not really familiar with their mechanics, but I have heard some controversies surrounding some of their monetization practices. But
It's
I
a
haven't,
fun
like,
game.
heard
It is a
with
fun
them.
game. I'll give them that. But if you really, really, really want to get into it, you really have to spend some money. It's just almost impossible not to, because you have to like burn these cards to get these dust to make these bigger cards, and
Yeah, it's gonna take you
buy
like 2 months
boxes.
if you play legitimately
Right.
to.
You could do
make
it.
no pay
You could
for
do it,
You
but
could do it, but it's not worth the time. The other thing with Magic is
cool
like
whip.
if you wanted to have Magic, there's a way to fix it. If you didn't want Magic to be a pay-to-win system, the competitive level should be draft. That should be how you play. Because draft is everybody, you get like 6 players or 8 players or whatever, and you open a box like a brick, and everybody gets one booster pack. You open the booster pack, you pick out a card and you pass it to the next person, you pick out a card and you pass it to the next person, you pick, and you build your deck like that. So because of the random nature, and because you have to just be very good at picking out what's going to win quickly, that would stop the game from being pay to win.
Yeah,
somebody,
but that would make Magic as much money, So
right.
Oh yeah, of
So-
course not, exactly.
but
But that's what we're talking about.
somebody brings
right?
up a good point.
The Wizards is trying to make money, and because of the way Magic is built from the ground up, because they don't release the whole thing, and at the beginning of the year they release it in thirds or quarters. They release it in quarters, so you have to update your deck every quarter, and then when that cycle is over, they remove half the cards and you start again. It's the whole thing is a huge money sink. It's ridiculous.
So George makes a good
Yeah.
point. He says, I'm not a gamer. When I do play, I hack my games. I don't have patience. And I'm the same way. Look, I'll start out for the game and I'll play it for quite some time, but eventually I kind of like not lose interest, but it's not as great. And I will look for cheats, right? Because I don't have the time to sit for players like Skyrim for 5 fucking years, right? So most games like Obsidian 4 and any kind of those kind of games, I love the cheats. But some games like for example, like was it Divinity 2?
Yeah.
I haven't cheated yet. I haven't cheated in that game. But most games, I hack. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, nowadays it's all done through console, right? You can just find what object you want, right? You just say add item and you get whatever. But back in the day, before you young millennials, okay, millennial, you guys had it made.
Okay, boomer.
I had to actually do it the hard way. And what we would do is, like, for example, like a game like Eye of the Beholder, for the old timers out there, great dungeon crawl game, one of my favorites. How to take the game, go into assembly through soft ice, and go through the subroutines, find the memory locations of where the goal was located or an object. And you would have to like test each one as a hexadecimal to what it would do if you changed it. Like if you wanted a sword in this location or the gold. Gold was the easiest. So you basically said, okay, you've got 5,000 gold or whatever. Where is it located? And you would go through the assembly routines and the whole 9 yards. And once you found it, then you could do a patch through the Pascal or just, put in normally. But that is how you had to, quote, hack your game. You cracked it old school. And you would have reams of paper with code.
Yep.
And you go, okay, if I change this memory location, what happens here? What happens here? And you have saved game files, and you compare the offsets for the same game files. That's when it took some skill to do that kind of stuff. Now you just add items. So you don't even know how you cheaters and hackers have it easy right now.
When one of
The closest thing I had to that was in San Andreas when I was like young. I had like a sheet of like console cheat codes where you have to press the buttons in a specific order. Like
Up, down,
those,
left, right,
those
left,
were
right,
the
BA,
perfect days.
start.
Yeah, those were the perfect days of that kind of stuff.
When one of the ways I realized that gaming was pretty toasted as I was playing a Square Enix game. No, it wasn't Square. It's oh no, who is it? Oh, that's gonna bother me. The Tales series, like Tales of the Abyss, Tales of Symphonia, the Tales of series, and I was playing Tales of Xillia, which came out for the PlayStation 3, if I'm remembering correctly. Namco. And one of the fun things about JRPGs is you run around and you complete the missions and you can find all of these side quests, and all the side quests will give you different outfits and different titles and different stuff that you can get. In Tales of Xillia, all of the different outfits except for 2, one for one character, one for the other character, DLC. You have to pay for them all.
Oh wow.
I was just like, wow, this game mechanic that has existed since the PlayStation 1. It'd be like if you could play the new Final Fantasy VII whenever that thing comes out, and you had to buy the fun additional weapons. So like Cloud gets a nail bat.
Well,
You'd
I mean, I
have
have
to
a
pay for
perfect
or
example.
the mop. You'd have to pay
let me ask you this: save game scumming, is that cheating? Because I do that. I say I'm a scummer. I'm a total scummer. I admit it. Forgive me, Lord, but I am a save scummer. Is that cheating? Because I say no.
Depends on the game.
Well, some games actually encourage it. They actually, like they'll tell you save before you go in here. And most of the games will automatically save, but a lot of them will be like, yeah, you need to save often. But for the ones that aren't, where you just, if you make a bad mistake or do something wrong, you're going to get screwed, and you save beforehand, and then you go back and restore it, is save scumming just considered to be bad form?
I don't think it's cheating, to be honest. No.
I don't think it's
because you still play it legitimately in some way. You still like play it in the way the game intends you to
Are
play
you?
it.
I mean, are you? Because
If you do it in Mass Effect, you're cheating. If you do it in Pokemon, you're not.
I don't think I play Mass Effect 2, and I played it through.
In Mass Effect, the thing is like making those decisions changes the outcome
Right.
of the game. So like if you do the Walking Dead series, or like what's that game called? The one that you're playing the big bad wolf, and he's a detective, and Snow White gets her head chopped off.
Oh, yeah, The Wolf Among Us, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. So if you do it in that game, you're cheating. But if you do it in Pokemon, you're not cheating, because like a lot of people will like, I want to catch Moltres, so they'll save right before they go to catch Moltres in case something messes up, so that way they can just reload the save file to be able to catch Moltres.
My ethical standing is Smitty's here. If the game intends you to save scum, it's not cheating. So if it lets you, if you could do it, I mean, it's one of those. Well, just because it allows you to do it doesn't mean it's not cheating. But I don't have a problem with save scumming. I don't.
I would call it like an exploit more than a cheat. I don't
It's
think
not an exploit. No, I disagree.
Well,
That's
I mean,
definitely
you
not an exploit.
are. I wouldn't call it cheating. Not that. No, I would like at best I would call it an exploit.
Now you could argue it doesn't give you the actual immersion of the game, because if you're not responsible for your actions, right? If you can go back and change the decision you made, knowing that it's going to lead to some kind of bad thing for your character, then.
I also think it depends on how you play the game a little bit, because some people will play the game, then they're like, okay, there's an option here, and I really want to see both.
Yeah.
But I don't want to play this whole chunk of the game beforehand. So what you do is you save here and you go down this path to see where it goes, and then once you're done, you have played the game, you go back here, and then you want to see what the other path goes. I don't think that's cheating. That's just you wanting to experience the game.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I've done that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we can go because we keep getting off topic.
There's lots to talk about.
So I mean, like, we can kind of go over examples of like massive exploitation from the AAA industry, and how the psychology behind it, as well as how it affects those who play the games. I mean, I think, I'm not sure if you have, but there are stories out there of people spending hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on microtransactions.
Yep.
one article I recently read was about
Ridiculous.
a mobile Transformers game, where I think it was one of the publisher or the developers in a meeting talked about how one person spent over $220,000 in microtransactions on that game alone, and there is like those people who do those things. I doubt it's just a matter of free will and more of a matter of psychological manipulation.
I think. Well, what happens when these kids get a hold of their parents' credit cards and they rack up?
Oh, there are plenty of stories of
parents liable.
Parents
liable.
And like the parents, their credit cards are drained because those kids essentially become somewhat addicted to getting the thrill of maybe of actually getting that good item. But
it's gambling in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's different governments, like the United Kingdom, I think, simply said, yeah, this is a form of gambling. Like there is no other way around it. Of course, the companies try to say, well, no, because you do win certain items, even though they're pretty much useless to the actual effect of the game itself, and the items that are good do have an effect on the game most of the time. Or like they give it different names. Like a lot of them try to not call them loot boxes. Like I said before, they call it either surprise mechanics. I think it was a pretty infamous example by I think it was EA who did that. They know, even they know it's bad. That's why they try to not talk about it whenever they can. They just try to give it other names or just try to make it as much of a good thing as possible, because even they know it is a bad thing. But yeah, like we are talking actively about companies psychologically manipulating their customers into giving them more money in very devious ways. And they don't care about the age, right? They don't care about that because they sell you FIFA, a game which has loot box mechanics and gambling mechanics where in order to get a good team, you have to buy these packs. And these packs are completely random. And of course, the good players, those that are extremely rare, and the chance of getting them are within like 0.0001% maybe, or even lower than that. We're talking about very small percentages.
But it still plays on the same mechanism by which gambling works on, the whole getting your dopamine going and expectation, whether they're the loot boxes are of any value or any kind of help in the game. If you got something that's really cool looking, you're like, it has a similar effect of winning.
It's kind of like if those slot machines were to give you 5 cents each time you play again, right? Even though you even though you put like let's say you put like €2 or dollars in it, and every time they give you 5 cents, that doesn't, like, just because you get something back from it, even though it means nothing, doesn't mean it automatically no longer is gambling. It's still gambling based on the mechanic itself, not what you get from it. No, it's the mechanic itself that actually causes it to become gambling.
Right.
And
it's like mounts in WoW. They don't really mean anything, but if you have this mount, like, you're a special player.
Yeah, it like just because you get something from it, even though it's absolutely useless, doesn't mean it's no longer gambling. No, it's still gambling by definition, based on what it does to you, the effect that it has on you, the effect it's supposed to have. Because of course, it's like companies aim for it to be maybe finally somewhat of a profitable thing to get. Like, oh wow, you look, congratulations, you got this rare skin on this game. But in the meantime, you've spent like $100 on some of the most useless items within that game that you have no control over of getting. Like, I commend companies that have paywalls that say at least, all right, here is you pay $2 and you get this skin specifically, right? I have no problem with that, because at least you know what you're paying for. But when it comes to these practices, you're essentially saying, well, you might get a chance at this. We promote the fact that you might get a chance at this. We'll say that, oh, look at these great items, even though you have no chance of getting these items. Look at them. They actively advertise these things as well.
Yeah, they do.
Like I've seen this all the time. Like I play a lot of Call of Duty, and Black Ops 4 is a perfect example of where before you enter the multiplayer, you get like 5 different screens of new items that you can get only through loot boxes or through excessive grinding. Every single time, by the way. It's not just like one time. You can't turn this mechanic off. This doesn't happen one time. No, every time you log onto the menu of the multiplayer section, you get this screen every single time. And what do you think? What do you think happens to those who keep getting those images in their head? That gets to them. It's a way to lure them into that system. They're essentially active predators. That's what the game. It's a predator that lures people into those mechanics actively, and they're not ashamed of doing it. It's I'm baffled like nowadays at like how people can even try to defend it because it still exists.
It's not even fun. It's,
well, I mean, that's the thing. It is fun in a certain way. That's the dangerous part of it. The fact that it is fun for those
people.
who, yeah, and well, I mean, like a lot of people who are in it, they it is fun in a very certain way of the fun being that the chance of actually getting it right, or like the moment you get it, like there is a lot of
the people who find that fun are the people who are going to get addicted to that kind of system. The people who enjoy playing games aren't getting to play a game. There's no game there. It's just rolling some dice.
Yeah, like back when this really took off was I think the first game that really started to make this a trend was a game called Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, one of the titles that released a few years ago, which introduced weapon varieties that you could only get through loot boxes. That's pretty much the only way, as far as I remember, that you could be able to get them. I was one of those people who spent, I think, more than 300 euros on those loot boxes alone. Getting those weapon variants because they were in fact really they did have an effect on like the gameplay itself. They made your weapons more powerful and that kind of stuff. And it was fun for me to open those loot boxes, even though I knew the chance of me getting those good items was small.
It's a gambling thing.
Because they give you a certain rush.
Mm-hmm.
That's very dangerous, especially those who are still very young. And I was like quite young back in those days. Like even though the game's just a few years old, I was younger and more naive.
I give you a really simpler version of that dopamine level. There's a lot of games I used to play, like World of Warcraft or Anarchy Online, where you would camp something and you would kill something over and over and over, trying to get a specific type of loot that comes out of it, right? Because every time you click on it, you're like, am I going to get it? And then when it actually drops, you get that endorphin rush. You get that feeling of satisfaction. And I would camp shit for hours on end, or farm stuff. And so it's the same kind of thing. That game kind of, those things draw you. Now, I don't mind those as much as long as the loot rate is reasonable. There are some rare things that are just, you could sit there for just a year and if you ever get it, then you lose your mind. Those like rare mounts kind of things. Super rare mounts.
Something that bothers me, since Smitty brought up Call of Duty, COD and any sports game. So like any of the like the 2007, like NHL 2000s or Madden or those sports games specifically, like the NBA 06 one, like all of those games, they're just the same game. There's nothing new in them, literally ever. Can we stop giving them money to sell us the same game over and over and over again, please?
I like when they come out with a second version or a newer version. It's a much better version of the first, and not like the same thing over.
Okay, so it's fine if you were to take like the very first NHL game and then the 10th one that came out. The 10th one is absolutely worth, because you've now got new mechanics, you've got new graphics, but all of the ones in between are not. I don't need one every year. Give me one every like 3 years, every 5 years maybe. You don't need I don't need all the transitional fossils, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would grant Call of Duty is that they at least try to keep their like the
with
time,
some
like
things.
Yeah, like they actually, like I think FIFA and like especially sport games in and of themselves are far even like the worst examples out there. And I think at least COD is still trying to at least make a new timeline or a new setting. Or
I would say if you go from Call of Duty to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there was a change there.
Yeah,
or there was a change that happened, which is fine and great and cool.
Yeah, like I don't think you can really compare Black Ops 4 with the most recent reboot of Modern Warfare in many different aspects, because I think Modern Warfare is actually quite a better example of the AAA gaming industry, especially coming from Activision of all places.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying COD shouldn't exist or COD isn't necessarily a good
I'm getting you. I'm just like I'm just saying that like COD is in fact a big offender, but I think I don't think it's even comparable to like sports games. Yeah,
they have branches, so at least like you can play like more of a
Yeah.
classic Call of Duty, you can play a Modern Warfare, or you can play something like Black Ops. Now those are 3 different games. I would absolutely agree. However, when you've got Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Modern Warfare. Give me a Modern Warfare game. Wait a couple of years when there's actually a change to be made to the
Yeah.
games, and then give me a new
Yeah,
Modern Warfare.
I think my problem with COD is mainly in rather than the fact that they have those games released every year. I think my problem with COD is mainly the monetization system in and of itself within the game,
Sure.
because I have in fact enjoyed a lot of their games because in many different aspects, even though they're released every year, I still feel that they actually put some sort of effort into it, with the exception of Black Ops 4, of course, because that one was like, to me, felt like absolute trash. But at least they still put some effort in some of their games, and I couldn't just say that at all anymore for any of the sports games that EA releases, like FIFA, the NFL.
Yeah,
those
there's
types
nothing there.
There's nothing. They're empty shells of games that lack any sort of creativity, any sort of new mechanics. Like they have nothing essentially. They play a little bit around with their campaign, maybe not really. Sometimes that's all they can do essentially. And yeah, those games, in my opinion, should die out. I have no problem.
Sadie talked about Battlefield. I love Battlefield 1942, but nobody plays it, and I don't even know if the servers are still up. Is that a free game anymore? Is that abandonware or something? I would love to play Battlefield 1942 if it's still available. But I heard that they canceled it and then stopped the servers. I think you'd have to make your own server or something. But yeah, Sadie, if you have Battlefield and you know how to give it, I'll play Battlefield with.
And real quick, Soul Survivor. Yes, there are other games besides Call of Duty, but there being other games besides Call of Duty does not rectify the issues that Call of Duty has.
Yeah, the mechanics within those games. We're talking about the largest game within the industry, and we're not just talking about like small games that like. One thing that Call of Duty does really well is creating their game mechanics so well that it becomes addictive, like any other. Like there are legitimate millions of people that play only Call of Duty. Those people exist, and there are many of those people, right? So that's one thing they did very well. So like just saying like, oh well, they should just buy other games. That like you're missing the mentality of the average Call of Duty player, where it is that game and that game alone.
I think there's a lot of people that did that with Halo as well, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Halo was one of those examples as well. I mean, but that's just because like of their game, like first-person shooters gameplay like that is extremely addictive to no extent, and it keeps getting addictive. Like it doesn't matter how many times you play it, you want to keep playing, you want to keep playing, you want to keep playing, to no end. And that's one thing they do really well. So to say to those people like, oh, just play other games. I don't think you then really understand their mentality when playing those games,
or the issue that we're talking about on a whole, because the issue is the addictive nature, and the companies then taking advantage of the addictive nature of their game to then essentially turn themselves a profit by lying to people.
Especially when they know what type of audience they have. Like, no one can say like, oh, they're all just adults that are being affected by this mechanic. No, it's not. It's a lot of children that are being affected. Like, we're talking about young children from like 11, 12, 14, whatever. People who shouldn't even be anywhere close to gambling, let alone in video games sold to 3-year-olds. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh man, I remember I used to actually work at EB Games, and I remember parents coming in looking to buy those games for their kids, and I'm like, this is rated M to begin with, and their kid's like 7, and I was just like, I can't tell you no, but are you sure? Oh, and keep in mind that this rating does not cover online. So if your kid's online, you're gonna have a bad time. They always ended up coming back like an hour or 2 later.
Somebody asked me if I'm still playing Borderlands.
True, we already talked about JRPGs being a major issue, as well as card games, and as well as like gacha games in general. So not quite. No, we're not only using that as an example.
I haven't played
I'm looking at his icon, and I see the Fallout thing in it. I think it's the loading or like the Vault logo of Fallout. And I think we can actually kind of move to Fallout as a perfect example. because
I play Fallout
mean-
Shelter, and that didn't cost me a dime.
Fallout
oh no,
Shelter-
I'm not talking about Shelter. I'm talking about the latest Fallout, actual game.
Yeah, it's
Fallout
expensive.
76.
Yeah,
Fallout 76.
but I heard that was
Yeah.
like it was
Oh,
had some issues to it.
it had
Some issues is an understatement. Like that's the biggest understatement you could have. Like that speaks very lightly of that game. That game came out completely broken with bugs that were already fixed in the previous Fallout game by the community. So they didn't even they
Yeah.
just literally took Fallout 4, took the entire code of Fallout 4 and just slapped it onto Fallout 76 and said, "Oh, our work is done. Nothing else to do here." And they know that we knew that because we saw bugs that were in the first versions of Fallout 4 that were fixed by the community. And to this day, the game is still pretty much in a broken state. And instead of actually fixing it, what do? They put something forth called Fallout First, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which is essentially a license to have patches for your game. And I think the price was more than $100.
They're selling you the
a
fix
year.
to have and private servers and some other stuff like that
Yeah.
or something like
and,
that.
and
yeah.
even those mechanics don't work, by the way. Like it's not like the fixed version of the game. It's like a somewhat patched version of the actual game. Not even anywhere close to fixed. That's the worst offender of it, because I remember just a simple attempt of buying the game, of buying Fallout First. Even those things didn't work. Like their own website didn't function properly so that you could buy Fallout First. Now it's somewhat of a good thing, of course, but like it shows how little they actually care about even their own products, of trying to sell their own products.
Doesn't that kill their reputation though? Like Bethesda has had issues before.
It has.
So I mean, that's not their first fuck up.
Yeah, but before Fallout 76, they still had like a pretty good reputation. But 76, like it crushed their reputation like never before. Like they are completely in the shits and are seen by many, from one of the best video game companies to one of the worst in existence.
It's a shame
Yeah, they
because
just-
Bethesda has some good games. I mean, they really, really did. I like Bethesda stuff.
I mean, at least EA. Everybody already hated EA, especially when they came.
I've
out
never
with
really liked.
Battlefield.
Yeah, I've never. The EA
Oh
games
my
like
God.
what?
Or wait,
But Battlefield's
was
good. But
Battlefield? No.
Yeah, are you talking about the fourth Battlefield game, which was in a completely broken state?
Fourth Battlefield, but the one I'm thinking of is Battlefront. Battlefront. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
worst
Star Wars
one.
Battlefront. Yeah, that one actually kicked off the whole thing between the government and
Yes.
video game industries. Yeah.
Because they had they not only did they have like a crummy loot box system, but they also you had to pay to be able to play any of the actual characters if you wanted a chance to, and then you'd only get to play them for that round, and then oh my God.
Yeah,
I have pre-ordered. Somebody had bought it for me, but pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077. I'm waiting for that because if that game has bugs in it, people are going to lose their minds.
Oh yeah.
'Cause that's people have been waiting for that forever, and it doesn't come out to like April 2020.
And that Elder Scrolls Online game came out, and that didn't launch very well at all. Oh my God! And then when
And I like Elder Scrolls. Morrowind is one of the best all-time games in history.
well, and Skyrim was good, but then
Morrowind
What
was
was
way
the,
better than Skyrim. Sorry.
well, I agree it was. But that's not the point, because the Morrowind map is buried in the Skyrim coding.
I mean, it's obvious that Bethesda for years have done simple flips of everything that they copy their coding continuously. I mean,
Oh,
why do you think they use an engine that has been seen as outdated by pretty much the entire video game industry?
Well, there's a online community that's trying to and has been working for years to bring Skyrim graphics into Morrowind and just basically update Morrowind into like one huge map.
Yeah, but there's not a problem with the graphic. It's just like the engine that the creation engine is just outdated. It is an outdated engine that has gone by its sell by date by now. I mean, it has been ever since Fallout 4 and even before that, in my opinion. But yeah, they just really refuse to innovate nowadays, and I think that's a real shame, because I did think they used to make some pretty great games with great storylines, good innovation and whatnot. But they've just abandoned that all for like a simple profit motive, and it shows in their recent example of how they treat their own customers. Even like they've recently banned an individual who has been one of the most active people in actually fixing Fallout 76 and reporting those issues by duplicating exploits to see whether it's actually an issue within the game. They banned that guy. They banned the entire team of those individuals.
Yeah.
They're all gone now. They've given up on actually trying.
What was
to
the
fix
reasoning
game.
for that though? What they banned?
So
for?
They banned them for cheating.
Oh.
Yeah. So they what they do is they
Keep in mind,
they
Fallout
find
76 is
exploits.
online.
Yeah. So they find exploits online. That's what they do, and then they use cheat engine in order to actually see whether they can duplicate those exploits and see whether they're an actual problem within the game or they are just something that they happen to come across randomly. If it happens to be an actual severe problem, they will report those issues to Bethesda where they can patch those issues. But what happened is that it was like, so the whole like how the community, how the communication between the departments of Bethesda goes, it's a mess. So I think it was, I can't remember which, I think it was customer support, I think, which saw the whole exploitation process. And they didn't really care that it was for like an actual good purpose, that being reporting those issues to prevent it from being a widely known phenomenon that then players could use to
It just
exploit
breaks
the
the
entire
game
game.
entirely.
Yeah, they find those exploits in order to notify Bethesda. Yeah, and so that Bethesda can fix them. They banned them for using those exploits because even though Bethesda was familiar with the practice, they just banned them outright for using those exploits on the game, even though they didn't use those exploits
They weren't
for
actually
themselves.
using them to play the game.
They didn't really. Yeah, they don't seem to understand the difference between somebody who's actively trying to cheat and somebody who's actually trying to find bugs, right? They should put those to their. They should hire those people, you know.
Yeah, they just saw them using the cheat engine and thought like, all right, bye. They didn't give a shit about the context behind those using those cheat engines. No, like they just saw him using cheat engine. Bye. They're gone now. They've all been banned now. They've lost all their accounts. Some of them had like 4 accounts. I'm not so sure like for what purposes. I think to make it easier to duplicate certain issues. But yeah, they all
to
have
duplicate
multiple.
and to make sure that like
That must have
transferring,
pissed them off.
like because sometimes if you transfer items between 1 and 2, you can there are ways to break systems that way as well. Like in Skyrim, you can like sell a bunch of daggers and then buy a bunch of stuff back and pickpocket all his money and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Sean says in the chat, like they axe their white hats. They axe the people who helped them the most, and now they still have a lot of people who can just simply use exploits without any consequence, right? That they're no longer those people who try to help the community and help the game are gone now because of Bethesda's own stupidity.
Yeah, and EA was the most hated game developer for like a year.
For years actually. I think years on end they were seen as the worst company in the United States.
Then there was that awful launch that Square did of their online game of Final Fantasy 14, and then they fixed it, and it's better.
I liked EA only because they used to have a program called On the House. And they would give away free games, and then they just stopped that, which kind of sucked. But and not many of them are great, but occasionally I got Mass Effect 2 that way through.
Well, you may as well just get PSN in that case. But the what's the other one? What is going on? Do you have any more insight into what's going on with because we're gonna have to call it soon, but I want your thoughts on what's going on with Blizzard. Because there was like a huge Blizzard boycott, and that lasted like a week until they revealed some stuff for Overwatch.
Yeah, so... I was extremely pissed off at the reception for those 2 games and how positive they were, and how quickly people forgot about the fact that they actively shill for a foreign government, and hurt their own player base by doing so.
China
and China, of course, China. Who else, right?
It seems like everybody completely forgot that. Blizzard also kowtowed around China when they came out with the Mista Pandora. Mista Pandora wasn't actually properly released for a long time because it had pandas in it.
Yeah, you had to get the Chinese civil approval and shit.
Yeah, especially with this current issue, like you have people who pretend like I'm not gonna say they care anymore. Like I'm just gonna say this: they pretended to care about the issue. If they really cared, they would have kept this thing going, but they didn't. Of course, the moment Overwatch 2 came out, Diablo 4 came out, they were all fucking happily fine and dandy with, and they completely forgot as if it was like erased from their own minds. That's how it felt to me.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that it's like a different game that people like maybe people kind of disassociate the company with the game if it's a different franchise? So like Blizzard has more than obviously World of Warcraft, but people were upset about that portion of the game.
Well, I
So
mean,
when they
they're,
brought
they're
these
not
ones out,
upset. They're not upset at the Hearthstone developers though, because Hearthstone had nothing to do with the tournament. The tournament is mainly organized by Blizzard itself.
right?
So like the main company. So they're not like, and you didn't heard people say like, oh, screw the Hearthstone developers. No, everyone said screw Blizzard, right? So I don't think it's a Hearthstone thing. I think they did try to pretend to care about the Blizzard thing, not the Hearthstone thing.
Yeah.
So and they blatantly advertise that Overwatch 2 is a Blizzard game. Like in their trailers, they show the Blizzard logo, so you know it's a Blizzard.
I've never even
game.
tried it. I know it's a free game, but I haven't played it.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in Overwatch.
Yeah, so I mean, I've played it when it came out. It was actually quite a fun game, but like me for example, I refuse to watch any of the trailers or any of the news on those games now because of Blizzard's continuous shilling, I would say, to the Chinese government.
Yeah, they're basically capitulating to them because that's such a big market for them, and I'm pretty sure that stock's owned by China. Quick super chat, Helios 575 $5. They were white hatters and they had multiple accounts, so the exploits wouldn't benefit their actual playing account because they didn't cheat, which would make sense, and I get that. And when you have, I say I'm not for any kind of zero tolerance shit. Because zero tolerance shit is always backfired. There's always got to be somebody with a brains to go, you know what, this is not the proper way to go about this.
Oh, you mean how YouTube shouldn't just have an algorithm running its shit?
That would be. They need somebody in charge to know what the hell they're doing. Because obviously these companies, they want to get automated, and I understand they're all about the money, but they seem to have people in charge that not really looking at the issues and trying to come up with actual solutions. And so when you like ban all your white hats, or you arbitrarily say if you do this then this, and you are at a zero tolerance situation, that has never worked out in the judicial system. It'll never work out in gaming. It'll never work out anywhere because it doesn't allow for any kind of exceptions or nuance.
And speaking of which, you mean context matters?
Context matters. That's C word.
Yeah.
Red's Rhetoric had posted about
Ooh?
Yeah, that's some guy who does flat earth stuff.
I know who he is. I remember him now.
I hear that he might be going live at 3 and talking to Anthony Riley.
Really?
Uh-huh. And Nathan Oakley.
Wait, why would really? Anthony Riley. I don't okay. Sleeping Warrior.
So yeah. So
Interesting.
he posted that Matt Lone YouTuber who got like a bunch of copyright strikes for using the music that I mentioned earlier. He tweeted out saying that YouTube looks like the YouTube copyright system is being abused again at Team YouTube, at YouTube creators, at YouTube. Watch this video and please explain how music from your own catalog of safe to use music can be claimed. YouTube responded. Twitter YouTube said at Team YouTube, we look into misuse of our copyright tools up to terminating abusive users. Please continue to dispute claims you believe were made in error. Guys, it's YouTube's stuff that's getting copyright claimed. What is wrong with your system?
Yeah, they're copyright claiming it and then saying that, wait. Yeah, so they're basically telling themselves to get terminated themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, a third party is copyright claiming YouTube stuff using YouTube system on this guy's channel, weird. And YouTube is still flagging it. How is that still going through?
Because they don't think about this stuff. I mean, look what happened with Markiplier, where his fans were getting, got their whole accounts terminated, not just YouTube, but G Plus as well, Google email as well, and it took
spamming.
Yeah, for spamming, and he had to like contact him, and the first reply that he got though, well, his viewers got where we've all things are reviewed, and we looked carefully at this, and just and we can't do anything about it, kind of thing. And then they got pretty much caught with their pants down because they're like, oh shit, we really did mess up, which means it wasn't carefully reviewed as they initially said. They lied. I think they outright lied.
They didn't even need to individually look at every single account. All they could have done is look at the stream itself, and
right?
That would have saved them so much.
Well,
but that's what happens when we have 25 million subs.
And the red flag to that would have been they would have had a bunch of like a ton, all coming from the same code, all coming from the same video, all coming.
Oh, it
out
would have been
about
easy
the
to
same
fix.
time.
Easy to
So when
fix.
you get like, and the thing was, is it was hundreds. It wasn't like, oh, like 5 people. No, you get 5 and you start being like, what happened
Yeah.
here? They got hundreds. You get 20 and you should be like, okay, let's look at the stream and see what happened here. And then it should have just been rectified
Yeah, and
immediately.
we're going to talk about hundreds of people who were actively spamming Markiplier.
No,
he was
exactly.
asking them questions, and they used the chat
voting.
system in order to get those answers.
Who would have thought
That's
that
all
that
they
would
did.
cause them to go, get to losing the entire YouTube and Gmail account?
And
That's
they
ridiculous.
were using emojis. They weren't
Yeah.
even typing something out. It was
Yeah.
YouTube's emojis. So how in the flying hell do you get reported again and flagged and your Google account removed for why the hell is what you do on YouTube affecting your email? That's
Nobody can
bullshit.
figure that one out.
But why would you ever, even if you were spamming, if you're using YouTube's own things, if nobody's reported you and you're using YouTube's things, there is no reason why you should be getting flagged. You're using YouTube's tools that they've provided to you.
All right. Well, we are actually coming up on time here, guys. So
There's so much to talk about.
oh, it's
Come
game
back
stuff.
again.
Well,
Yeah,
what I'm gonna
it
I'm
will
gonna be
never end.
I'm gonna be streaming to Twitch. I'm gonna be doing some games. I got like 5 more days to stream this month to get into that algorithm thing, and then I've got to get like how much watch time. So I'll be streaming games every so often from this channel or from the GDC channel just to play and have fun. So look forward to that. Tomorrow we got Landon Curtinol, Astro Athens, and Dr. John Kroon coming in. We're gonna be talking about pulsars. How cool is that? But Bear, thanks a lot, man. This was actually pretty cool. I don't, we never had a chance to talk before. We were just, somebody was talking in the live chat. But we were like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we should bring you on, talk about games and stuff, dude. That'd be kind of cool.
Come back again.
Yeah,
I've got.
that'll be fun. Yeah, I
Awesome.
think I would love to come back again sometime. And yeah, it was great talking to you, Steve.
Thank you.
Cheshire, I'm looking forward to the apron video. Can't wait for that one.
Or the lack of apron.
No, yeah, yeah. No, but it was
We'll
really
see
fun
what we
talking
can
to you
do.
guys about these things, and I would love to continue talking about this more, or maybe like get into more very specific topics.
Yes.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
like talking about this as a whole, you can talk for like
So
days on
much.
end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
so
and-
like maybe sometime focus on a single thing for the next time, and yeah, I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, and hope that you maybe start putting out at least some product on your YouTube channel. At least tell people what's going on with them, or at least what's been going on with you, so they know what's been happening to YouTube. Because you made the prediction a year ago on one of your videos I watched, and
Yep.
it came to fruition that it just wasn't
was, like, right on
viable.
point.
Yeah, it was right on point. So that was really good. And like I said, we need a little bit of exposure. So anything you do to help us, we can appreciate it too. Helios,
And we also do other topics, so if you feel free to, if you want to jump in when we're talking about politics or something.
oh yeah, and
please.
Rum and Coke
Oh,
nights.
I
Yeah,
love politics.
Politics,
I have no
philosophy,
Can you
issues with
explain
science.
Brexit to us?
Impossible.
I mean, I can't. I don't have a dumpster to light on fire here, so it's kind of difficult.
Oh,
to
it's
do that.
okay. We provide the dumpster.
yeah, that's what
Oh, yeah,
our
that's
job
fine.
is.
I have a lighter somewhere. No.
Helios, $2. This will be a short session. 2 hours later. No, 2 hours about the length of our show. We went 3 hours
Yeah.
last time, so this was actually.
So I'll hopefully be having a video coming out on my channel later today. It'll be the painting of the puppet. So go check that out. Go subscribe there if you want to see when that comes. It should hopefully be later today. I will also be streaming later this week doing art. So if you want to check that out, that'd be great. And I'm currently traveling, so Puck is at home alone. I know you guys were asking about him. He's playing in the snow and he's super happy about it. But he's got the Amazon wish list if you want to send him anything.
Puck's so cute. Yeah, he needs some stuff. He does. He's a good boy.
He's loving everything. We got a ball that goes like wow, wow when you flip it over. He's in love with that thing. He doesn't know what to do with it. He's just like, he freaks out. And he's got those little squeaky long guys that I showed a picture of. I think he thinks it's alive. And he thinks it's a new friend because if you take it from him and you squeak it, he like freaks out a little bit. Videos on my Twitter.
More than likely. All right, thanks for watching, guys. You guys have a great day today. I'm gonna go lay down. My caffeine buzz has. Mwah.
Done.
Good night.